Welcome to Skype call testing service. After the beep, please record the message. Afterwards, your message will be played back to you.
Skype, echo, go, go. It tested the shit positive out of me. I don't give a shit
Me
what
too,
you
you
say.
fuck.
Holy shit, I can hear you. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Wednesday Night Gentlemen Multimedia Empire official podcast. This is episode number 17. On this show, we talk about comic books, movies, TV shows, video games, and everyone's favorite political discourse. I'm your host, Tactic Angel, and with me is Midget Radio, my murderous socialist friend.
Hello.
Midget Radio, how are you today?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I am okay. I heard you taking a good gulp of something earlier.
It helps.
What was that?
I am back to the Macallan. The Macallan.
Macallan. Okay, cool. I have a nice glass of Donegal here, and I hate it.
Oh, really?
I do actually. Hate it.
Oh, well, that's sad. Have you ever had it before? Is this a brand? Are you trying new things?
No, this has been in my house, and every once in a while I forget how much I don't like it.
Oh.
It's like it's an Irish whiskey, and to me it tastes kind of bland and watery, and
Oh, that's
just,
sad.
It just doesn't do it for me. I want the flavor of deforestation in my mouth when I drink whiskey.
It tastes the best.
It does. And I feel like I'm not getting enough oak or anything. I don't care what you need to kill to make this taste better.
Right.
But for God's sake, kill it.
That's what it's about. We should have a thing where we invite our hundreds of listeners to suggest scotches for us to drink, to try out.
It doesn't even need to be scotch, it just needs to be whiskey. And keep in mind, if we do this, we should put a reasonable price cap on it.
Well, that's true. I mean, we can invite our listeners to make any suggestions. We don't have to listen to fucking anything they say, though.
It's like democracy.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
It's exactly like our electoral process.
We can have them cast a vote and then ignore it, because I'm good with that.
I'm gonna close down Guantanamo. No, I'm not.
No, fuck it.
All right. I'm gonna build a wall. Well, the jury's still out, but probably not.
It's gonna be more like a fence.
Fence is vaguely wall-like. Who knows? Who cares? We're not talking about politics this episode, though. We're talking about the Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. Just one topic today, right?
One topic.
Crazy.
And, one planned topic.
Okay.
There's always the who knows.
That's exciting.
Iron Fist is the fourth and final character listed in the original order for the sort of Netflix Marvel team-up TV show lead up to the Defenders miniseries. I guess the Defenders miniseries is going to be like 8 episodes according to its current IMDb listing.
Okay.
The Defenders promises to be a sort of small screen street level team-up like the Avengers, if you figure that the Avengers are like big screen and actually big shit that matters.
Yes.
The Defenders now include Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and finally, I'm sure everyone's favorite, Danny Rand, the Iron Fist. Midget Radio, how do you feel about Danny Rand, the Iron Fist?
Well, I am only 3 episodes in right now.
Yes, this is kind of a preview.
Okay.
Preview.
So my overall impression so far is it is okay.
Okay.
That is where I am at. Danny Rand is okay. Everything that's going on is generally okay.
for the first 3 episodes, I can say that I generally agree with the idea that this TV series is okay. There's nothing really stand out about it, and in certainly the first 3 episodes, there's nothing that kind of makes it fall on its face.
Yeah.
This is going to be the shortest episode of Wednesday Night Gentlemen ever.
Yeah.
Do you have any non-spoilery comments to add to your okayness?
I don't know. I guess I could try to fill that out a little bit. I'm a little disappointed in the antagonists. They feel largely flat to me so far. The Meacham family, I guess, in general. Those are largely flat characters. And I mean, Danny Rand's okay. Like I said, he's not, I'm not like super annoyed with him. I've never felt that character was very compelling in the first place. I mean, there's just too much, like, there's just a little bit too much of the Bruce Wayne thing that keeps going on. Like, you have Bruce Wayne and Batman. He's the son of a wealthy family that owns a corporation, and he is awesome. And then you have these sort of secondary pretender characters like what the hell, Oliver Queen, Arrow. I mean, almost the same exact thing going on there.
Are you still going to put Tony Stark in that category?
Tony Stark, he's only in that category in the sense that he's a wealthy business owner, but at least he doesn't have this issue. They don't prey on the my parents are dead thing so much. Like that has not defined his life as much as it has Bruce Wayne and Arrow, and now, Danny Rand. I lost my parents at a young age, and now that's, all I ever think about, it seems like.
It is super sad.
So yeah. So I mean, in that sense, he's a much less interesting Bruce Wayne, and that's going to count against him, unfortunately.
Okay. I mean, I can't argue against it. A lot of this series does go into his feels.
Yeah.
I guess. And whatever. I'm not super into it, and I'm not super out of it either, and I'm kind of a not super emotional person.
True.
Yes. If you were to compare this to other Netflix series, what would that comparison look like?
So it's still early. Because I think you and I are generally in the same place when it comes to these, where, I mean, Daredevil seasons 1 and 2 are like the zenith of these series. Luke Cage would be under that, and Jessica Jones is what was a distant third place for a long time. I at this point, I feel like it's too early for me to tell really where I am on Iron Fist, because it's definitely going to be a competition between Iron Fist and Jessica Jones, and the plot line for Iron Fist has yet to piss me off as much as the plot for Jessica Jones did. And what I felt was just instance after instance in Jessica Jones of incredibly fucking lazy and thoughtless writing in that series. I'm not there yet with Iron Fist. Jessica Jones herself is certainly a way more interesting and fun character than Danny Rand. She's gonna blow him out of the water every day when it comes to that. But the storyline and the surrounding characters, that's still kind of up for grabs for me.
All right. I can't really argue with that. I think a lot of the frustrations that I felt with Jessica Jones, I feel played out in this, and it's mostly that it doesn't have enough direction. And I don't have a problem with the Meachams so much, and they are what appears to be the primary antagonist through at least the first 3 episodes. Yeah. And I mean, they're fine. I mean, they're kind of like, it's kind of like making your arch enemy also your frenemy.
Yeah.
And it's complicated between the three of them, and it doesn't help that Danny Rand is a little bit, I want to say, a little bit crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, he has a temper that is, for me, hard to follow, because I don't have many emotions at all.
Sure.
And then he kind of flies off, and it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And I agree, particularly because I don't have as many touch points in this series, certainly, as I did in like Luke Cage, even particularly like the first 3 to 5 episodes of Luke Cage, where I felt really solid.
Yeah.
Like really solid in terms of the kind of light world building, and I enjoyed the musical performances. So even if, you know, certainly during the first 3 or 5 episodes, Luke Cage wasn't much of a character at all, at least I was entertained.
Yeah.
And I feel like in this case, I'm not wholly entertained. I'm not turned off by the material, but it's just kind of as vanilla as it comes.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And but in some ways, like, that has been something of a strength to me for the show. Like, it's entirely, at least for these first 3 episodes, for the most part, it's pretty inoffensive. There's not, like, I haven't, you don't have to deal with a bunch of just irrational and unnecessarily overly emotional scenes like you would in a CW show like fucking Arrow. The plot hasn't been too outlandish thus far. It's been just kind of a borderline. It's been walking, really, I think, just kind of a fairly boring line so far, which is okay.
I think it's just going through the motions.
It is, yeah. That is, I mean, it's more or less what it feels like.
It's not like it's intentionally boring, or kind of like if you were to watch the first couple episodes of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the things I really liked about the first couple episodes of The Walking Dead is that it was slow and plodding.
Yeah.
And like quite literally nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then as things start to happen, then I like it a little bit less.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to give it a rating?
Yeah. Yeah.
After 3 episodes.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a straight 3 stars right now. That's where I'm at.
You know, I hate to do this, but I'm going to give it a 2.5. I've been giving everything a 2.5.
That's true.
And it's kind of making me feel like I'm just dead to the world.
You are very negative, so.
Well, it's not like if I was negative, I'd be like, 1 star. This is shit. But I'm not saying that. I'm just saying after 3 episodes, I was kind of like, I'm interested to see where this is going, but there's nothing I can point to that's like really good.
Yeah.
Or really bad.
Yeah.
And I'm having, let's just say, not serious problems with the characters, but certainly there's nothing that really makes me really all that interested in any of them either.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
As is typically the case, we will move on to spoilers.
Awesome.
And we can talk about this a little bit more in depth if we want to, but how much of it is there?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a few things like, so just plot, like, and I think this goes to what you were saying, where it just kind of feels like it's going through the motions, where you have episode 1, Danny Rand comes back to New York after 15 years of missing. And he only knows these 2 Meacham kids, basically, Joy and Ward. So Okay, so obviously the issue is, to prove to them that he didn't die 15 years ago and that he is who he says he is. And of course, he goes about that in generally the dumbest possible manner that you can, which is typical for lazy television writing. And this is kind of exactly what I would expect to see in a comic book as well. Whereas, like, instead of sitting down and having a conversation with somebody, you instead beat everybody up and then insist on all you want is to have a conversation with someone. I mean, it's just like he goes about it in the most absurd manner possible. And I thought it was kind of funny where one of the like a secretary or something like that, which Joy is talking to some lady, and she's like, if he's trying to prove that he's Danny Rand, he's going about it in a pretty unrealistic and ridiculous manner. And Joy's like, well, what choice does he have? And he has a lot of choices. Like he has a lot of choices that don't involve beating up a bunch of security guards in a corporate building in the first episode, or breaking into her house. But I mean, that's the kind of just conflict driven, we need to create tension and drama and stuff like that. And it's a little lazy, but it's also kind of expected and cliche and obvious. And in that manner, it's somewhat forgivable to me because this is a comic book show and I don't really expect a whole lot out of it anyway. And I don't know. So that's the kind of going through the motions. I think that's when you said that, that's kind of what it feels like to me, where we have a conflict that's based on something that's kind of stupid that could be resolved rather quickly without the kung fu. But I mean, this is a show about kung fu, so
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna play, devil's advocate here.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that I completely believe this, but there are certain elements of it that as you were talking, I kind of like had minor issue with.
Sure.
But let's say that you and I had a friend and we were running a company, and God only knows what we would be selling.
Yeah.
And they show up and they say, I'm K-Mac. I'm here.
Yeah. Okay.
It's actually strangely his birthday, the day that we're recording.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, it is.
Made me a little bit sad when I saw that stuff. Anyway, so K-Mac comes back 12 years later and is like, Tactic Angel Midget Radio. I am your long lost high school DM.
Yeah.
What are the chances that as a Fortune 500 company, we would buzz him to the penthouse?
Right. I get that.
Pretty low.
Sure.
And I mean, that just goes to the ridiculousness of comic book writing in general.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's immediately you start with sort of a non-real life experiential thing where our main character was in a plane crash and spent 15 years in another dimension.
Yeah.
That is the premise.
Yeah.
Already cannot relate to it. Order of the Crane Mother.
Yeah.
Whatever. So I think you're already outside. Like, even if, as you look at kind of the suspension of disbelief question, you're already throwing variables into it that people are just expected to accept.
Yeah.
And which isn't good storytelling, but when it comes to why do they choose this conflict-driven plot where Danny Rand breaks into his best friend's house
to convince her that
I mean, it makes a small amount of sense.
Right. It does. It does. But again, I mean, like you're already saying, I mean, in the point you're already making, I mean, it's typical, it's comic booky, and it's cliche. It's lazy. And that's fine. I mean, it's fine. It's generally inoffensive. But at the same time, like, that's what's making it feel like it's going through the motions. I mean, this is exactly how I would expect how I would expect this to generally play out, for the characters to not communicate with each other in any genuine fashion, and to instead go about resolving this issue with kung fu and breaking and entering, because that's dramatic, and that's what, you know, that. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying. It's not offensive to me, but it does feel like it feels pretty rote.
Okay. How do you feel about the quality of the kung fu?
It's okay. It's not. I don't feel like it's not bad. I'm gonna at least say that much. It's not bad. I mean, I don't understand how these shows get made, because whoever's working on Daredevil fucking knocks it out every episode. And so you would think, but like when you're watching Iron Fist, you're like, well, Daredevil could beat his ass, right?
all day.
Like, and I'm not sure that's a good thing. So you know, it's okay. It's not bad. I'm not, you know, I'm not all that impressed with it either.
Okay. How do you feel about Jessica Henwick, the martial arts instructor?
Colleen Wing?
Yes.
She's probably the most likable character on the show so far, but she does, I don't know. I wish she was a little bit more interesting too. And again, I mean, I'm only 3 episodes into it, but like, so even her character feels a little cliche to me, because you have, you know, badass female martial arts instructor who can kick just about anybody's ass, and that's great. I'm totally behind that. But she's also standoffish, kind of a hard ass, and a little overeager to prove herself to everybody, which is annoying to me in the sense that she's a martial arts instructor. I mean, she's a sensei, she's a master of her particular art. And I'd rather see someone who's a little bit more like humble and reserved,
wise.
and wise, and less fucking eager to prove like what a badass she is, you know, that she's got to constantly say, well, it would be a mistake to attack me. I mean, that kind of stuff is so unnecessary for someone with her skill level that it's just it's a bit of a clash, I think, in her character, that she's mastered these arts but still seems like somebody who has something to prove. It's disappointing. So
man, I wish I had something to disagree with her. I was gonna say, like overall, I find her character to be a little obstreperous.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, other than that, it's like, okay,
yeah.
You're an unattractive Asian, you know, kung fu master, or in this case, think she's probably more like Aikido and Japanese traditions for whatever reason.
I was a little curious about that, because her name's Colleen Wing, which I thought was kind of traditionally a Chinese name, but then she mentions the Bushido code and she walks around with a fucking practice katana, and I mean, clearly she's a practitioner of more Japanese martial arts, but I think she's Japanese, but I don't know. The name is a little weird.
No, the name is not Japanese.
Yeah.
The name is quite obviously probably Chinese, and she even speaks Mandarin.
Yeah. And
then, man, I would not want to get stopped by a police officer with a 28-inch blade on me.
Oh well,
it's like this is a little bit over the limit. Yeah. It's like, well, it's like a knife can be up to 4 inches long, and this is not a knife.
Yeah,
this is a sword.
Yeah,
I'm walking around with a sword,
which is cool. I love the image of that, but you know, yeah.
I love to see the fucked up police report that comes out of that. Like, I successfully defended the rape attack by cutting this person into pieces.
That would be
whatever,
awesome.
however many pieces. the offending member is over there, his arm is over there, and etc.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't work. You're like, you're still going to jail.
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh, sure, blame the victim. I like her character, but then at the same time, I feel exactly the same way.
Yeah.
That she's, as it relates to the Meachums, though, they're the next characters, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel a lot of inconsistency in motivation,
Yeah.
in writing, and I've seen this is even spoiler alert within the spoiler section. I've seen a couple more episodes of this, and it's just like I struggle a lot with their motivation,
Yeah.
and their consistency as characters. I struggle a lot with actually pretty much all of the characters in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds pretty fair. I mean, like, only 3 episodes in, it does, especially Joy, the sister. I don't really understand where she's coming from, what her feelings toward Danny are, and what her feelings toward her family are. Whether there's any kind of leftover sense of loyalty or friendship to Danny, it's hard to tell to what degree that's even still within her. And I'm trying to only 3 episodes in, maybe they're just a bunch of conflicts, that will be explored later on in the series, which I understand and am fine with. But it's a little frustrating because she seems to gravitate between somebody who may have some empathy and some complicated and complex feelings toward Danny, and then someone who is basically just fucking greedy for whatever reason. Now you tell me,
and I, again, advocatus diaboli here, but if, like, the character is a lawyer, like, she is the general counsel of Rand Incorporated, or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
And by the very nature of her job, she has to be able to kind of say one thing and do another thing. Is it too easy to just write her off as miscellaneous hatred of lawyers? Because, like, that's a lazy thing,
right?
We all understand,
right?
Kind of the laziness of, the government is always bad,
right?
Corporations are always bad. Lawyers are always bad. And insert whatever you want.
Yeah.
Always bad.
Yeah.
But like, is it too easy to say that they're relying on a trope? Is that fair? What are your thoughts?
3 episodes in, I'm still trying to reserve judgment on that. So I don't know. I hope that she is more interesting than that, but I'm trying to withhold judgment. But that's where I am with her. Certainly they could be doing that as far as I know, but I don't want to pass judgment right now on it. Ward, however, I am insanely fucking bored by. Like, he is totally uninteresting to me. He just, there's definitely a daddy conflict there. But even that, it's just not that interesting at all. He just doesn't even seem to be a human being to me. I don't know. I don't want to really do everything my daddy says, but I don't have any fucking thoughts or feelings of my own other than that I'm just grumpy puss, there's not, so far 3 episodes in, there does not seem to be much of anything to his character other than that he's kind of an asshole. And I thought, like, the one scene you see with him when he's young with Joy and young Danny, and they're playing, I don't even remember, checkers or some shit, and he punches him in the balls like they're playing Monopoly, and he wipes the board clean and punches Danny in the balls like he's just an evil dickhead for the sake of being an evil dickhead in that scene. And he hasn't transcended that 3 episodes in. He's still just kind of this flat character who is a dick because he's a dick, and it's a little boring.
I mean, I kind of agree with that. I actually find him a little bit less annoying than Joy's character.
Because he's consistent.
I think part of it's that is a fair characterization, in my opinion. At least, like, Joy's character to me is a little intensely frustrating because she does vacillate between being like 2 archetypes. They're not even. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure they're even people.
Yeah.
There's just like heartless lawyer who is, every bit as well thought out as like an SNL skit.
Yeah.
And then the other character, which is dear friend.
Yes.
Dear childhood
caring,
friend.
Loving. Yeah. Yeah.
Love of my life.
Yeah.
Lost him when I was 12 years old, etc. And it's just like.
Yeah. She has no life outside those 2 roles. Yeah. I totally agree.
And to vacillate between these 2 extremes, which aren't really all that coherent, is, I don't know. I find her to be frustrating in a way that Ward is not frustrating to me, because Ward is, and I've seen a couple more episodes. I feel like Ward is like where I'm at, understandable.
Okay.
He's still an asshole.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways he's an asshole for being an asshole.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bother me quite as bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I think frustrating is the exact right term to describe Joy. And then we've got their dad, who is a cartoon character at this point. I mean, 3 episodes in, he's still just he has a lair and a slave, basically. I mean, he's just
I think he is 100% comic book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yes.
And
yeah.
Never mind. I think I'm not really sure. What have you seen in terms of him so far? I forget where episode 3 ends.
I mean, nothing other than and interestingly, so like as cartoonish as he has been so far, we're at least up to the point where he's definitely got something going on with the hand. He sleeps in that little like incubation chamber. And Madame Gao has I'm sure it's Madame Gao who
there you go. That was the thing I wasn't 100% sure of, because it's like I don't remember where episode 3 ends. Yeah. I know we see the handprint. Where were you, or whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
On the thing.
Yeah.
So like that relationship, Madame Gao probably, and Harold.
Yes.
Is that his name?
Harold Meacham.
Harold Meacham is 100% comic book.
Yes.
I mean, because like as you work through it, it's like, what is the relationship? Why is this guy pretending to be dead?
Yeah.
But it's because of this mystical Yakuza thing. And then et cetera, and so on. It's like, I get it. It's completely romanticized and then comic bookized on top of that.
Yeah.
And it just, to me, that, like, on the one hand, I would expect you to think that's fucking awesome on account of that they're willing to even go to the ridiculous levels that they have clearly gone in this series. And then at the same time, it is, as a person who has never read a single episode of any comic book that included Iron Fist, because he is so low on the B list that he might as well be on the E list. I just don't like, what?
Yeah.
because you show me Stick, I get Stick in Daredevil.
Yeah.
You show me Harold Meacham and his relationship to Madame Gao, and I think like this is filler. This is the sort of unrememberable shit that happens in 90% of all comic books and certainly 90% of the Iron Man comic books that I read.
So you're right. Because I am going to depart from you here a little bit. That's the most interesting thing in the show to me. that ridiculous character, that Harold Meacham, who I have absolutely no interest in whatsoever, is the most interesting aspect of the plot and the storyline to me for exactly all those reasons you just said. I think that he actually did die and was resurrected by the Hand, and that's why he can't go out anymore. He's not supposed to. He can't reveal basically that secret. That's what I think is going on. I'm 100% into that. And I like that. I like the interest when he goes and visits Danny in the mental institution. That he takes some interest in the fact that the Iron Fist is supposed to be the sworn enemy of the Hand. All of that is ridiculous comic book shit, and I'm totally fucking on board with it. Despite the fact that it's surrounding the nexus of that is one of the stupidest characters in the
bullshit.
Show. Yeah.
Stupid bullshit. It's moments like these that I'm glad that we've been friends for like fucking 20 years. I don't even have to have a conversation. I already know your opinion.
Yeah. I'm totally into that. But I love the fucking Hand. I mean, so the fact that the Hand is even in this show, I'm completely on board with, and it just makes me think of Daredevil, and they did such a great job with the Hand in Daredevil that I'm hoping it lives up to that in this show, and I want to see some fucking ninja fights in this show as well. And I love, I'm so behind the mystical kung fu stuff. Put more of that into this show, and I will be completely on board with it. But the characters, it doesn't change the fact that the characters are completely fucking flat, and uninteresting in the large part.
Yeah. No, I think you'll probably enjoy at least parts of the next couple of episodes.
Yeah, that's good.
Now I hear that it actually does get more interesting the deeper you get into it.
Good.
And I'm trying to be fair to the show and rate the first 3 episodes on what it is. Right now, I'm actually a little bit more frustrated than the 2.5 stars that I gave it.
It's getting worse now that we're talking about it.
No, it's that like the writing doesn't improve and the direction doesn't improve to where I'm at, which is I think at the beginning or something like that of episode 6. And it's just like, I'm ready for you guys to do something. Just like commit to something.
Yeah.
Because like so far the Netflix shows have been like, even as we complain about them, even as we say that Luke Cage should have been 2 episodes shorter,
right,
and that Jessica Jones should have been 4 or 6 episodes shorter.
6, yeah.
It's not that we dislike the characters. Like I love the character of Jessica Jones, and I just wish they would show her trying to solve a crime. And I don't care if she fucks the whole thing up. Actually, I kind of prefer if she fucks the whole thing up, because she's clearly like a completely dysfunctional person.
Yeah.
And like, you show me Luke Cage and you get a fucking real choreographer in there that pretends like Luke Cage is at least like has some reminiscence of understanding of what it's like to be punched in the face, and that he doesn't want to have that happen, instead of him just being like Superman with no kryptonite. Like, I think those are better shows than like watching an episode of Arrow.
Yes.
And like, you can argue that there are better or worse seasons of Arrow, but I didn't get past season 1 because the whole fucking show was completely fucking shit.
Yep.
It was 100% shit.
Yes, it was.
Except for that moment when you get to see
Hilo fucking bite it.
yeah, he got shot in the head, and I watched that several times. But other than that moment, actually, there's also, I think, a moment that you get to watch the young actor who plays Bruce Wayne in Gotham die. And that is also strangely satisfying.
Yeah. I can see that.
Parenthetically, children are gay, and I don't hope that any child ever suffers.
Right,
anyway.
except for Bruce Wayne as a kid. But
yes, because he's a fucking ridiculous emo bitch.
Yeah. Oh God, and Cat too. I would actually rather see Cat die than.
You know what? I'm not sure, but I'll take what I can get. They're both pretty intolerable in that show, and I shouldn't be rooting for someone to kill Bruce Wayne in the middle of a TV show that is spawned off of a Bruce Wayne themed thing. Why is the alcoholic detective the most interesting character in this show?
Yeah, it's sad.
I mean, it's whatever. Yeah. God damn it. That show is so frustrating. Anyway, this show is not that frustrating to me. Even as I get into episode 6, I would rather watch episode 7 than another episode of Arrow.
Yeah.
Season 2, I guess.
Yeah.
I did get into season 2 because I watched all of season 1. I'm 100% sure of that.
That's amazing. I did not watch all of season 1 of that show.
Yeah. Well, it was tough. I'm not gonna lie. It was tough.
Yeah.
I understood what it was like to live in a labor camp. I think.
I'm sure you did. You should write a book about that experience.
Open letter to the CW to follow. Your shows are shit. Stop it. That might be the whole letter.
Dear inmates at the Gulag, I understand your pain.
There is no longer a Gulag. It's the Federation of Russian Republics or whatever the shit. Vladimir Putin is a legitimate elected president.
Yes, he is. Amazing.
Holy shit.
Back to Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. Is that what we're talking about?
I think so. You know what I'd like to see is more of like, so the first 3 episodes, we've seen that plane crash, I think 50 times by now. I think he's thought about that plane crash at least that much.
It was actually 37
times. I don't want to inflate that number. I'm hoping, like, I would actually hope that we see a little bit more of Kunlun or Kunlun, however you fucking say it. I would like to see that city. I would like to see the training. I hope that they invest in that a little bit more. I would like to see the sort of ridiculous and incredibly, spiritual and mystical approach to kung fu training that I'm sure must apparently go on in that extra dimensional city. I'd love to see them explore that a little bit more. That would be a hell of a lot more interesting than the corporate competition and all of that shit.
Here comes a comic book question, right? Mm-hmm. I know that you don't know a ton about.
I do not. Yeah.
About Iron Fist, but did you get the sense as you were watching that the people in Kunlun are a bunch of fucking assholes?
I mean, not yet. All I know is that they found a kid in the snow. That's it. That's actually all I know. And then the other times you see Danny Rand as an older adult meditating on top of a mountain. That's all I know about so far. So, okay. I don't know.
We'll talk about this next.
Okay.
I'm not I might have jumped the gun a little bit. I kind of get the feeling that they're a bunch of assholes. But
they might be.
We'll see.
Okay.
If you saw a dragon, let's say,
yes,
in Kunlun, would that make you feel better about all of reality? For those who are listening, maybe. Midget Radio is not very happy with the idea that a dragon from Kunlun came and kicked the fucking Phoenix Force's ass because the Phoenix is a bitch.
The fact that Iron Fist has any fucking history with the Phoenix Force is such an absurd goddamn retcon. It is. God damn it. I boil with hatred and anger at the idea that some sort of Iron Fist fucking Kung Fu Dragon punch could knock out a Phoenix. That's ridiculous. It's a cosmic entity. It burns whole planets alive. I mean, it's just an insane fucking thing to think that a Kung Fu Dragon on Earth or wherever could repel it all by itself.
Kunlun.
Absolutely
Kunlun.
Ridiculous. Absolutely goddamn fucking insane and ridiculous. So,
do you think that it was not a good
that
choice?
Goddamn dragon.
Are you saying that you don't think that it was a good choice for AVX?
No, I don't think it was a good choice. I don't think it made any goddamn sense. It was a fucking ridiculous, insane thing. That event didn't really make any sense, but Cyclops was right is the important thing to take away.
I heard that Emma was right.
Emma was also right. Oh boy. But there's some issues there. But Cyclops was definitely right. Fuck that Kung Fu Dragon. But if he keeps to himself, in this show, that's cool. I'm okay with all of that. Just the Phoenix history is ridiculous.
Are you going to explain why Emma was wrong at some point?
Well, she was right, but the issue with, that's a whole other topic. there's a lot going on there.
I know that I asked you before the show and that you didn't want to verbally commit to this, but it's come up.
Yeah.
It's come
because
up.
Of you. It's not like it's come up. Tactic Angel has brought it up is what has happened.
You want to talk about the X-Men.
I do. I love the X-Men. They're the best ever.
And you feel that we don't do enough of that here.
I don't think anyone does enough of that anywhere.
Oh, okay. Well, at least we're in good company. Midget Radio wants to do an independent thing where he just yells, I think, at a wall.
Yeah. That'll be my computer monitor probably.
Until he feels better about everything.
Yeah. I'm going to progressively drink until the pain goes away. And I've expressed all of my thoughts.
Is that a Red Letter Media reference?
Oh, God. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
They did the Baby's Day Out.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. That was pretty good.
Fuck the pain away. Fuck the pain away.
Pretty awesome.
The thing about Donegal is it still gets you to the same place. It's pretty good.
That's good. That's efficient. Off the rails. Didn't take too long. But
Midget Radio, I hope that you do that thing. I would love to hear you go full on psychotic into a mic with no one to guide the madness.
I think it would be both a strange and enlightening journey for all who choose to listen.
Sometimes enlightening. Always strange and sometimes enlightening
that
journey.
Would be the tagline.
That would be fucking great. I don't have a lot more to complain about or to say heap nice things. I know I didn't heap a lot of nice things. I thought that the fighting in this show was acceptable, but I feel this show suffers a lot from Daredevil.
Yeah. Both of those fucking seasons have just set the bar so high that it's completely unfair. And that it was the first show out of the gate. and still remains the best. I mean, God.
I mean, Daredevil is an interesting character for a lot of reasons. And then you throw Punisher into it and watch the two of them actually have like a dialogue between these opposing things. These two ideas about, you know, people can be redeemed and you should never kill anyone versus fuck
that. You want to talk about Santa Claus? Yeah.
we take the evil out of the world. It's a net win.
Yeah. That conflict is awesome. And I mean, we cannot leave Vincent D'Onofrio out of this conversation because he's just, God, he's fucking magnetic. I mean, he is amazing to watch on the screen. And that character is so fucking compelling and so interesting. That, I mean, at times it's like, you're kind of like, you feel fucking bad for him, genuinely bad, because Vincent D'Onofrio is such a goddamn great actor. And that part is written so well that the conflict between him and Daredevil, it's just that much more interesting. And there's so much more weight behind it because you actually fucking care about both of those characters. They are both really goddamn interesting.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you mentioned both the performance and also the writing, because when they go back to his childhood and you see him staring at a wall, it does kind of, like, strangely, in this white slate of a painting that he has bought, you understand a lot of things,
very much so,
about this character, and like you understand it on a level that you don't actually understand it. You can understand that there is a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's super great. Yeah. You can't say enough things. Like, if you were to rate all of the comic book sort of TV shows.
Yeah.
And you were to do it on a 1 to 100 scale. And let's just assume, because it's the pinnacle, the Daredevil show gets clearly the 100.
Right.
Well, I mean,
first it's X-Men the animated series, and then after that,
no,
I'm kidding.
No, that doesn't count. We're talking about
that's ridiculous.
We're talking about real people. And all right, worst case scenario, if we count that, he gets a 98.
Right.
The next show after that gets like a 70, 78, 76.
Maybe. So I have to interject and say that, I mean, we're 6 episodes into Legion now, and that show is, I mean, granted, it's almost somewhat difficult to even call it a fucking superhero show, but I mean, what that show is pulling off, and I've seen 5 of the episodes so far, but it is extremely compelling and ridiculously well done and so interesting. But at the same time, it's so fucking different from everything else that is on television that it almost doesn't seem right to include it with the rest of these shows. But so that said, I agree. Daredevil is at the top. But if we include Legion, I'm not sure how far behind at this point Legion would really be. But I don't know, even saying that, it seems ridiculous to compare the two. But so, yeah, I had to say that.
No, I've only watched the first one because it was extremely easy for me to watch the first one. We can certainly have that conversation. Like,
it's really good.
Quite literally, the next episode of Wednesday Night Gentlemen might be the rest of Iron Fist and what do we think of Legion up until this point. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
That's fine with me. I'm in love with Legion, so I'm happy to talk about it.
All right, so there we have it. Anyone who's listening right now knows exactly what we're going to talk about next week.
It's going to be different.
And in 2 weeks we'll show, I hope.
Ghost in the Shell, which I'm actually going to try to watch, I think. Would you recommend that? Ghost in the Shell, watching a little bit of Standalone Complex? I know there's a lot of it. And then there's Second Gig and all this other shit.
Okay, first of all, Ghost in the Shell or Standalone Complex and Second Gig are some of the best anime that's ever been created.
Wow, that's bold. Okay.
No, I'm not even joking, because
It's not that bold. There's a lot of shitty anime. Most
well,
of it's shit, but...
all right, I agree. There's a lot of shitty anime. Ghost in the Shell and Second Gig deal a lot with kind of philosophical and I don't know. You can ask the question about certain metaphysical concepts and epistemology, and it's very interesting. It's a good thing to watch because it deals with what is consciousness and
that's cool,
and all the good morality that goes along with that. And it's not outwardly preachy. Like, we both love Star Trek. Fucking thank God we can bring Star Trek into yet another episode.
Right. It always feels like it's missing.
We both love Star Trek, and Star Trek is as ham-fisted as it comes sometimes.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, do you get it? I'm gonna bang you with the plot until you get it.
Yeah.
And then there are certain shows that, like, and I'm thinking, I don't even know the name of the episode, where a dying man downloads his consciousness into a tank, and all he wants to do is say goodbye to his mother.
I saw that episode.
And
I remember that.
It is a strangely touching episode.
Yeah.
And it just helps. Like, it doesn't say a lot, and it doesn't tell you what the ultimate feels that you should get out of it. It just says, this is a story, whatever, deal with it, rationalize it in your own way. And I love it. I love that episode.
Tactic Angel. Fucking wellspring of emotion over there. My God.
I
crying over Ghost in the Shell standalone complex.
Have you ever had to take what is that test that our company is so in love with? It's I
don't know, that some fucking person. Well, it's Mensa, right? For the personality.
No, it's
thing.
not Mensa.
It's not Mensa. Myers-Briggs?
No, it's not Myers-Briggs. It's the other one.
McDonald's.
No.
I feel the M strongly. Oh Jesus! I'm gonna look it up here. I hope our listeners enjoy this time.
Do you want to cut this out like you didn't do last week?
I don't. Oh, I can't believe I forgot that last time. What an asshole. Let's see. I'm going to riff on other things on Iron Fist. I actually like that Danny listens to hip hop. I think the fusion between like hip hop and kung fu, I've always thought that was interesting. I think it's sort of a callback to, my understanding is that, a lot of, especially in the 70s, a lot of kung fu movies, played as double features in generally cheap theaters, and ignited a kind of love for kung fu among certain like African American communities back in the day. And that's why we have like Wu-Tang Clan obviously is an offspring of that. Jim Kelly, Black Belt Jones, that's obviously a kind of offspring of that. So it's kind of cool to see. It's kind of cool to see that fusion in the show. I wish they did a little bit more with it. I wish it was a little more fun. But I like that, watching Danny perform like a kata of some kind while listening to hip hop really loud. It's cool to see those two. It's cool to see those two cultures come together as a sort of homage to where people like RZA came from out of the Wu-Tang Clan, and all the movies. I think that the Wu-Tang Clan is, because they were putting out like reissues of 70s era kung fu movies under their own label, which was pretty cool to see. Oh, and I like the episode titles as well. At least some of them. They have like Rolling Thunder, Cannon Punch is, I think, the name of episode 3, and then 8 Diagram, Dragon Palm. I'm way into all of that stuff. That stuff is really fun. And there's a lot of those movies from the 70s that are fantastic. Like Shaolin Temple, that's fucking awesome. That's an awesome movie from the 70s, from the Shaw Brothers.
I kind of disagree. I don't it doesn't do anything for me. And we've talked about this before, particularly when we were looking at Luke Cage. I just don't care all that much about modern hip hop. I love the soul in that, in the Luke Cage, and particularly like the first 3 to 5 episodes. I love some of the blues and all that good stuff. But once it starts to get heavy into Wu-Tang Clan and other even more modern nonsense, I don't follow it. I
can see that. There's only so much of it I can take. At a certain point, it just gets really stale. And hip hop in general gets really stale at a certain point after so much of it, and that's not fucking true for a lot of soul music. Like the stuff that Charles Bradley was doing in Luke Cage is wall to wall awesome. And then I mean blues all fucking day, all goddamn day long, is amazing.
Yeah, no, I feel you with the soul never gets old, but the hip hop can.
Yeah,
it doesn't. Whatever.
That's what I want to do when I'm in my 50s, Tactic Angel, is play. I want to play blues music.
I thought that what our goal was to retire somewhere where we could sit on the back porch, like in Peaches. Like,
yes.
And then hold a loaded firearm at the same time.
Yeah. Yes, I want a shotgun for sure. And I want to play the blues, and then anybody who comes by the house to see me play blues on the porch gets shot for trespassing. That's what I want to do. That's the dream.
Well, that's interesting and also psychotic.
Did you fucking finish looking up whatever you were looking up?
I can't remember what it is, and it's because of this.
I've just been blabbing.
Fucking Donegal.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I've been trying to listen to you, but it's hard. It's hard to listen to you and then also internet
I'm just trying to fill
at the same time.
That's all I'm doing. Well, where are we at now? You're the host.
It has something
now?
to do with colors. Anyway.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
What the fuck are we talking about?
I don't know. You're the host.
We're done.
Okay.
So this has been episode 17 of Wednesday Night Gentlemen. It is
one for the books.
It has ended abruptly due to an intoxication factor of its hosts. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you've enjoyed whatever the fuck it is that we have been talking about, please feel free to like and or subscribe to our channel. Also, we have a Facebook page. Please feel free to give us a like there. Yeah. And we will see you next week on episode 18 of Wednesday Night Gentlemen Multimedia Empire Official Podcast, where we will probably be talking about Legion and also the rest of Iron Fists. There we go. Good call. Iron Fist. What a great show.
Okay.
See you next week, everybody.
Bye.